On today's episode, we're going to be going over how to dominate as a high school baseball pitcher. I'm going to give you a perspective from a coach and from a former catcher. And it's really not about how hard you can throw if you want to dominate in high school. So, to really go over this, you kind of have to understand what a coach is looking for to one, trust the guy and let him go out there and dominate. There's plenty of guys in high school who aren't throwing in the upper 80s, who aren't throwing the 90s. Not everyone does that. It's it's a lot more rare than people think, even though all over social media and just in general, people are throwing harder these days. If you really want to dominate, it's gonna come down to how you can command the zone. And if you can command the zone, your coach is gonna trust you. You're gonna pitch a lot more, and I guarantee you're gonna get a lot more batters out. And also understanding what hitters are looking for. Like, very seriously, there's not too many guys these days who can actually go out there and command the zone from pitch one. And it's not about your fastball. It's not even about your curveball. It is a little bit like, don't get me wrong, you you have to command both pitches. It comes down to, can you command two pitches? Can I trust you to throw this in that spot? So if you're constantly getting behind in counts, say you're in a 1-0 count, say you're in a 2-0 count, a hitter's gonna know exactly what to look for to tee off on you. He's gonna be sitting for a fastball, and at that point, you put yourself in a situation where you have to throw a fastball down the middle of the plate, and if you're gonna throw it over the heart of the plate, any hitter can hit it. It's not very challenging for a hitter to tee off on a ball at that point. So, when we really look at this, give me 1 second. It's really gonna come down to, do you have enough confidence in your pitch? Does your coach have enough confidence that in a 2-0 count, can we throw an off-speed pitch? And if you can, hitters aren't gonna be able to hit you. So if you have the ability to pitch backwards, it's pretty lethal. Whether it's a changeup, whether it's a curveball, it doesn't really matter. You just need command of 2 pitches so you can utterly dominate hitters. So if you do fall behind 2-0, you don't have to throw that fastball over the plate. If you flip a curveball in there for a strike when they're sitting fastball, the hitters aren't looking for that in that count, especially in high school. Now, I'm not saying if you go to college, you're D1, D2, D3, JUCO, that you're gonna get by and dominate doing this. I mean, there's exceptions, yeah, but your stuff's gonna have to be a little bit better, and you're gonna have to know exactly where you're dotting up. I mean, there's a lot of controversy that I'm not gonna get into over how to pitch right now. If you listen to, like, Tyler Glass now, he thinks that catchers should kinda just set up in the middle of the plate and that not a lot of guys have the ability to dot up. You have to know your stuff. That's not the case for every single person. Yes, you can focus on throwing in, throwing away, like all that stuff, high, low. You should be able to command your pitches to an extent. Obviously, if you're lower velocity pitcher, you're gonna need more. All right, let's not get sidetracked. I'm not going down that rabbit hole right now. Let's get back to what we really want to talk about on this episode, which is really just how to pick apart high school hitters. If you're a two-way guy, you kind of know like what coaches are looking for, right? I mean, think about the sequences in your head right now. If you go up 1-2 or 0-2, what is a coach calling? A coach is going to want to do one of two things. They're either going to elevate a fastball above the eyes to change eye levels. Maybe he'll have you completely wasted off the plate, or he's going to want to bounce a curveball or an off speed pitch in the dirt. Now, if you're a hitter, you can dominate high school baseball with that mindset of knowing that's just the way it is with a lot of coaches. Because unfortunately, a lot of high school coaches have not evolved in the way the game's trending, the way things are going. Um, It's a known thing in baseball that one of the hardest pitches to hit in today's game is a high fastball. Yet, a lot of coaches do have a problem with their pitchers throwing high fastballs. And I'm not talking about like out of the zone fastballs. I'm talking about commanding the top of the zone with a fastball. So I'm not going to debate that stuff right now. All I really want to talk about is if you're a pitcher who doesn't have plus stuff, you can still be an absolutely killer pitcher in high school baseball by knowing what to do with your pitches and knowing how to set yourself up for success. If you go down 2-0 and you think that you can just float in a fastball and that's going to be okay, you're mistaken. A hitter's going to tee off on that, especially if you're facing a pretty good team. They know you're behind. Now you got a man on second base because he teed off on a cookie fastball, and you don't have great stuff as it is. Man's on second base, so now there's more pressure on you, more pressure on the defense. So to avoid all of that, you need to be able to command two pitches, and whether it's pitching backwards or whatever the case, it doesn't matter. What matters is you can kind of map out the at bat and know, okay, he's thinking I'm going to do this. Let's avoid that. Whether it's you talking to your coach and being like, "Hey, how about we pitch backwards here?" Or, "I have more trust in my curveball than my fastball." And you lean on your curveball more than your fastball. Like, that's fine. Like, if you can throw it for a strike, throw it for a strike. If you can't, he's not going to trust you. So if you really want to have full control in a game, talk to your coach. Tell him, "Hey, you can count on me to throw this pitch here for a strike." And then if you show him you can do it, he's gonna trust you a lot more. Like, it's just how it is. There's no reason that you can't have an open discussion with your coach, and if he's not gonna cooperate with you, that's tough. If he's gonna get angry at you for shaking him off if he calls pitches, that's unfortunate, and it really sucks. At that point, all you can do is command your pitches so when he calls something, you can perform how he wants. And that also kind of sucks. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole in this episode. I kind of wanted to keep it quick. I don't want to kind of just drag on the same thing endlessly. But seriously, there's a discussion to be had about coaches who are kind of stuck in their ways. But as a player, I hate to say it, there's two things you can do. You can jump ship or you can deal with it. Not everyone can jump ship if you're at a public school and this is like you're just gonna play high school baseball, you're not gonna do anything in college. You gotta deal with it. You can quit, but you're probably playing the game because you love it. Um, do you have to be the dude who gets in a sticky place with the coach all the time? No. And you never want to show up the coach. If you're gonna do it respectfully. Well, not show 'em up, but like if you're gonna have this discussion, try to be as respectful as you can and truly try to talk to them. I mean, listen, some guys are tough. They really are. So try to have that open discussion, like, "Hey, I'm not gonna be the guy who's blowing fastballs because I don't have a plus fastball. I can command it, but I don't wanna put us in jeopardy of putting a lot of pressure on the defense because I can only rely on this pitcher, that's all you wanna call because you don't trust me to throw the other ones." You really have to show the ability to have more than one pitch in your arsenal because guess what? Some guys are gonna just hit your fastball. Whether it's flat, whether you don't have it that day, it happens. So if you can only throw one pitch, you're gonna get less opportunities in general. It doesn't really matter your velocity if you can only be relied on for one pitch. Like you can throw 89, 90, you can't throw that for a strike, and you have nothing else to go to. Well, if you're in there for 1 to 2 and like if you're in there 2, 3 innings, your velocity is probably gonna dip a little bit. If that's all you can throw, guess what? Next time around, those guys have seen it. They're probably gonna pick up on it a little bit. So give yourself more opportunities by really just learning how to actually pitch. And I hope this is coming out well. Um, I really do plan to do a couple more of these types of like just thought provoking episodes here where you guys can kind of see like the inner works of what you should be thinking of as a pitcher, not just, oh, I got to go throw hard. This is how I throw harder. Because there's so much more to the game than I'm going to throw it hard or I'm going to have one nasty pitch. Like, if you can't actually pitch, you're useless. If you can't be trusted in a game in a big spot, you're not going to pitch. Just like as a hitter too, if it's known you can't hit an off speed or you can't hit velo, you're gonna be at the bottom of the order because you can't be relied on in big spots. So why are you gonna get more at bats? So it works both ways, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher. Like, you have to be relied on to actually play the game. You can be a cage bomb hitter, but if you can't hit in the game, I'm not putting you in the lineup, or I'm not gonna trust you to be in the 3-4 hole. Like, even if you hit it 99 miles an hour, if you don't hit the ball, you don't hit the ball. Just like if you throw 92, but you can't throw strikes, what good are you? I would take someone who has full command of two pitches and can pitch backwards and know that that guy's going to compete day in and day out because he's filling up the zone. Um, I would like to talk about a little bit of what's going on with the 0-2, 1-2 count situation, and the old school mindset behind it. I'll go into more depth in a different episode, and I'm sorry if this one's dragging on, guys. I'm trying my best. It's I had the thought for this, so I really wanted to get it out, but there's a lot more that goes a lot deeper into all of this. But anyway, 1-2, 0-2 counts. Traditionally, it's going to be a fastball up or a curveball in the dirt. Well, you shouldn't even go to that until a hitter proves that they can hit your stuff. Fill up the zone. I don't like wasting pitches. Some coaches will disagree with that. That's fine. There's no reason to waste pitches on your pitch count or just in general. Put yourself in a situation where it gets to a 3-2 count, and then a hitter knows you're throwing a fastball, or 2-2 count. Even at that point, you're probably throwing a fastball. So if you go 0-2, you waste two pitches, guess what? Everyone kind of knows you're coming back to a fastball, especially if guys are on base. So a hitter's going to be sitting for those pitches. It makes it easier for them. So if you're up 0-2, he hasn't sniffed your fastball, he's either super late or whatever it is. Why would you go change up or off speed pitch if he's late on your fastball? Try spotting up in a difficult spot. Or if he was struggling and he's like barely fouling off, low and away, go back to low and away. If he doesn't swing, you might get him looking. If he does swing, he might swing and miss, or he might hit a weak ground ball. Because guess what? A lot of hitters in high school baseball can't hit low and away. It's one of the most difficult pitches in baseball to hit. Some guys can. So say someone's on the plate, right? We're getting a little bit into some intense stuff now, but I'm glad that it's starting to go there. Once again, there'll be more episodes on this. If a guy's standing on the plate, he wants you to throw away. Go inside. I know it's uncomfortable if someone's on top of the plate, but if you can go in on someone who's standing on the plate, guess what? If they foul it off 3 times in a row, that's fine. Go to a different pitch. But they're standing there for a reason. They can't hit the outside pitch. And if they're literally on top of the plate, you're going to buzz their hands off. Doesn't matter how hard you throw, because they physically cannot get the bat in position to put the ball in fair territory. And if they do, it's probably going to be a very weak ground ball or a weak pop-up or whatever it is. I mean, obviously, if it's over the heart of the plate, they're going to drive it. You have to make sure you can dot up on that white line, the black, or whatever you want to call it, to get that batter out. So beyond that whole situation of where he's standing and all of that, the hitter's ahead of your fastball. He's early. Perfect opportunity for you to go off speed, whether it be changeup or a curveball or a slider. I don't care, sweeper, whatever you throw. That's an opportunity for you to break out your off speed and see if you can get them out in front of something. Because guess what? If they're early on your fastball, they'll probably be early on your off speed. As long as you don't tip your pitches and you have a pretty good delivery and it looks the same, they're not going to know. They're not going to know because guess what? they're probably also thinking, if you do go off speed, it's going to be in the dirt. So why not try throwing one for a strike? And it could be in the heart of the plate, but if they're already in front of it, if they're that early fouling off a fastball into the woods every single time, guess what? You're probably going to get them swinging or looking, whether it's 0-2 or 1-2. You don't have to go dirt ball. You can be aggressive. So, kind of to recap, I'm going to do more episodes on these, but really think about how you want to throw. Really think about what your arsenal is. Are you a guy who has plus stuff? No. Okay. Is your time going to be better spent getting your velo or developing that super nasty pitch, or is it working with what you got? And I'm not saying you can't work on getting better pitches. This is just for general. I want to be a good and dominant high school baseball pitcher. Obviously, if you want to go farther to the next level, you're going to have to develop way more prowess with your pitches. You're going to have more velocity. You're going to have better off speed. Not saying don't work on that stuff. I'm saying if you really want to pitch well and impress people right now, and you don't have that stuff at the moment, it's irrelevant. You can just dominate from having great command. You can throw 80 miles an hour and you can be the poo slinger. That poo slinger that throws strikes usually dominates some really good teams because they're used to seeing guys with high leverage, whether it be like high 80s or low 90s stuff. Guess what? They see 80. It's like, I don't see this at all. A lot of hitters are just hitting off the hack attack now anyway, so they just see velo all day. You're just throwing soft stuff the whole time. They're going to be out in front, and especially if you fill it up, dude, they're done. So really think about what you want to do with your pitches. Can you trust yourself to 3-2 throw a curveball, 3-2 throw a changeup? If you can't, that's a problem. What happens if it's a 2-2 count and you have a man on second and third base, no outs? If you just groove a fastball, that could just be 2 runs that score off a double. You give yourself an opportunity if you can sneak one by, not sneak one by, but throw something aggressive off speed wise that's going to get a hitter to chase, take a bad swing, or just miss hit. Like, they're not going to absolutely drive everything you throw that's off speed. Like, some guys will, some guys are good. I'm not saying that if you are able to command these 2 pitches, that at least 2 pitches that you're going to be unhittable, but you're going to give yourself a good chance and you're going to have way more opportunities to pitch because you are trustworthy. So think about the guys who really kill it in high school, whether they're on your team or you face them. They're not a one pitch pitcher. They have way more. It might just be 2 pitches right now. They might have a distant third that they're working on that it's not that accurate, but they can mix it in there if they really need to. You can't just have 1 pitch, and you need to be able to command at least 2 pitches. And I'm not a big fan of wasting pitches. Just try to be aggressive with what you got. There's no reason to hold back or really be afraid to throw your stuff. Like, throw it. If it doesn't do anything, well, guess what? You got to work on it. So I hope this wasn't too ranty. Once again, I'm gonna try to make a couple other episodes to this where it's really more detailed exactly on whatever avenue it is, whether it's sequencing, whether it's how to read hitters, how to really talk to your coach about this stuff, and overall just try to help you guys as much as I can. So a lot of you guys are really just trying to figure out how can I dominate now in high school. Whether you're a freshman, whether you're a senior, you're not really worried about going to the highest level. You just want to do really good for your team. Like, this is how you do it. So I appreciate everyone who's listening to this. Leave a like. Leave a like. It would be awesome. Or a review if you're listening to this on Spotify. Uh, yeah. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and catch you on the next one.